Hello, and welcome to Augmented Teachings, where we talk about the things that inspire us to think better, feel better, and in turn, be better. My name is Brandi, and I'm so happy to be your host today. And I am with my co-host here, Todd Michael Jackson, who is the co-host and founder of Augmented Teachings. And we are here with our special guest again, Robert from House of Frogs. So hello, you two. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Doing really
Awesome.
good.
Awesome. So today's topic is?
Yes, how we divide ourselves. And I'm so excited to dive into that. We have a couple special surprises later as well.
We do? Oh my gosh.
We do.
So
Todd, how do we divide ourselves? Let's talk about that, because that can be discussed in so many different ways.
That's some low-hanging fruit right there, how we divide ourselves.
Because as we know, there's a lot of division in the world right now.
I mean, there's visual division, right? Ethnicity, right? And then there's sexual choice division. Then there's philosophy division, religion division. And there's also like how we process things division. So you have a conservative or liberal mentality. We separate ourselves that way too. That causes division on the programming that we have within our brain that helps us achieve our daily functions.
Right.
So I don't know. And it's weird because on the other side of the veil, there is no division, right? There is no division. We are beings of light. Every single human here is a being of light. And we move into these vessels that are like vehicles. Now, everybody has a vehicle of their own. So everybody drives, say you drive a Ford F-150. When you get into that Ford F-150, are you now a Ford F-150? No, it's just a vehicle to get from point A to point B.
Right.
So these are the same things. These vehicles are just to help us to learn and have experiences. But every being here is not divided. Even though we perceive that there is division, we're just in different places in our journey. So when we look at it through those eyes, okay, so then we look at, okay, so if we are divided, how do we bring down that division and in turn bring down that judgment? And that's what this show is about. It's about overcoming judgment, one soul at a time. So when we look to the situation to where we have difference of color, right? That's the lowest hanging fruit. That's literally judging the book by its cover.
Right.
When we keep doing that, and not realizing that our souls move from ethnicity to ethnicity. Our soul's journey is not one lifetime. It's many, many lifetimes. So you're not going to stay a white, heterosexual Christian male. You're going to change to other ethnicities, other genders, the other gender, and other religions. As your soul moves around, as it learns and grows and develops.
To get that full experience. And somebody had asked me a long time ago, why are there so many religions, right? And that's a really simple answer. There's so many different religions because there's so many different levels of spirituality that's carried within the soul. So younger souls will put their their ideas of God will be very stringent, while love takes a back seat, right? And you have religions and sects of religions that are very precise, such as the Middle East, where you have a lot of people that are very by the book, but love and compassion doesn't exist. Right.
They don't care who they hurt in the process of their devout following. And then as the soul matures, it'll move towards other religions that are more compassionate. There's rules you should follow, but love is mainly what you're supposed to have. And then as a soul gets way older, they don't need any scriptures anymore. They literally just walking the walk of love. So when you look at it through those eyes, you're like, okay, there is no good or bad. There's just degrees of learning. People in the Middle East that are very stringent aren't bad. They're just, their level of spirituality is lower. It's more of the word rather than the action of love itself.
I totally agree with that. I think also, as far as division goes, before you even get into religion, right, it's primal, right? Because the knowledge that our soul, that our spirit has through all these different times it comes and experiences the human vessel, that knowledge is kind of hidden from us because so that we can have the experience, a fresh perspective. If we knew all of these different things, then it would be like you already watched the movie, you already know the ending, right? So kind of that is kind of blocked for us. So then we're starting from scratch with each time we're coming here. And the first thing is when you're at the infant stage, right? Protection. Right, and you feel more protected with the observable of people that look, sound like you,
Exactly.
right? And so it starts just even from an infant with not knowing anything about how the world works, politics, the underbelly of humankind, right? It's embedded into them to kind of stick to those that are the same,
Right.
and then that grows. And can grow in a negative way throughout your life if you don't take the time to process what's really occurring. Right. Something like that. And the religious perspective, it's like any other belief system. A lot of religions are, we talked about last time, they're for controlling mechanisms and things like that, but they also have a lot of good things. But I think the story of Jesus, I think that's why it's very important to recognize and point out that there were no Christians in the Bible. There were no Christians there. He didn't have a religion on purpose. He was sitting on the corner saying what he believed his truths, and people that were open to receiving knowledge heard him. But there was no church. There is no religion. There's no Christians, and that's on purpose because, from that philosophy and that perspective of him, he understands that religion would be dividing. And look what happened, even his own followers, and the things they did to him.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And I tell you, like you were talking about last time, you were talking about innate wisdom that you gain after lifetimes. It becomes innate within you. Yeah. You may have two siblings, and one's like, you know what, I want to be evangelical, and the other one's gonna be like, no, I'm gonna be spiritual. Came from the same family, right?
Upbringing and everything,
but they have different ideas. One is like very stringent. No, the Bible says this. It's this. It's like, no, the Bible is trying to teach us love. I want to go with love, right? And innately, you can't make this soul degenerate down to this. You can't unlearn it. And this soul may not ever become spiritual. It's just too far.
Yeah.
It's just too far for it to go. It's still in second grade as far as spiritual level is concerned. It's not walking the walk of love. It's walking the walk of words, right? And this soul may have to make it a little bit of learning, but then again, it depends on what we feed ourselves too. If this soul isn't being moved or being influenced by this soul, and it just keeps itself in a circle where it's always right, then it'll never get to this point. It has to say, you know what? Maybe this isn't working. Maybe I should find something else. And it takes a while for a soul to get to that point sometimes before it moves away from self-righteousness and towards what works for everybody, not just me.
That altruistic state.
Absolutely. And also, too, part of it is hard for the individual to come to that realization because the outside world is difficult, right? So the space required for growth sometimes seems very limited or non-existent at all. So, example, you have governments that have certain policies. You have social economic status, the way neighborhoods are built, and seclusion and that sort of thing, right? So those souls coming into their vessels, they're coming into that environment. And it is hard for them to, even with the acquired knowledge of our spiritual journeys, right? It is hard for that individual to awaken because the surrounding environment is crushing that space for that growth or for that awakening to occur.
Right. Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
And we find ourselves in those situations a lot, where we're not sure which way to go. And sometimes we seek out help from other people, but it takes a while. And when we want to become that altruistic person over time, like Jesus was, like Gandhi was, like the Buddhas were, it's a big jump, and a lot of people are too afraid to take it, especially if they lose their circle of friends and all that, and their belief system. And younger souls tend to be led by ego rather than by love, right? Because the soul is in the back seat, and fear and ego are in the front seat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to be wrong. And if it's wrong here and it's wrong here, then the whole dam breaks. And sometimes they have a hard time leaving that whole mentality. But the cool thing is that we can come back here as many times as we want, so that we can learn in other areas to push us towards love and compassion. If you don't have appreciation and humility, it's okay. You can pick an incarnation where you learn compassion and humility because you have no choice.
Yes.
Especially if you've come here and you've actually kind of like not evolved at all, and maybe even gone back a little bit, you may find yourself choosing an incarnation where it's much more difficult and things aren't so easy. And it's not done to you; it's done for you at your request.
Yeah.
Because on the other side of the veil, there's no fear. So we go ahead and we take on those roles.
You take the assignments because you assigned it to yourself.
Right.
Exactly.
There's nobody over there punishing you. There's nobody putting that out there saying, "Oh, you have to go through this hardship because this is a punishment for something you did."
Right.
Absolutely not. That's not what we're saying at all.
No. We come here on our own accord. We come here on our own accord at our request.
That's the free will.
That's the free will, right? And why do we come here? Why it's so difficult? That's why we come here, because it's so difficult. We learn twice as fast here as we do on the other side of the veil. Our souls develop much faster. Plus, we have the extra added bonus of all of our experiences are relivable. And that's another reason why. So people are like, there's no reason why, no way I'm going to come back. You're going to come back, especially if you hurt a lot of people with your mindset, then you will choose to come back, because God deserves better than that. You're going to develop your soul, because eventually that soul goes back to source, and you want to have the best version of yourself to be as a gift to source.
I hear what you're saying, and then there's also some souls that are, really developed old souls here that are, those enlightened beings that are all about love and light and enjoying this beautiful planet and each other and oneness and love and all of that. And so sometimes it looks like it comes very easy to those people, that they're not triggered or whatever. It's like, no, they still have that human experience, right? But they're able to come with that innate wisdom,
right? And
that soul remembering of who they are,
right? And that's one of the things is like when I watch the news feed or whatever, and I'm scrolling, and I'm not thinking about how it affects me. I'm thinking about it helps the people that have less than me.
Right.
All the things that are happening. And I'm like, this isn't going to help the poor. This isn't going to help the sick. This is not going to help the elderly. These are the people that need the help. It may affect me a little bit, but in reality, it's going to affect a lot of other people with less resources more than me. And that's where I get triggered out of that altruistic compassion that I have for others.
Because you want that justice for all, literally.
Right. My ego wants justice, My ego wants to tell the people in charge some very nasty things. But I don't want that energy coming back to me.
Right.
So I force myself to send peace to everyone in charge.
Peace,
right.
Absolutely. Peace
Not
to
force. All. It's just I just overpower my ego, and I allow my knowledge of the spiritual energy that we are, that I can send those positive frequencies, and what attracts attracts.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And one of the things is that I'd never anger, never when I get triggered, it's never anger. I wish I could just sit them down right where you're at right here. Say, your action is this. this is how it affects these other beings of light that are just like you. And this is what's going to go back home to source, to God. This is what's going to happen. If you do this, X, Y, Z, ABC is going to happen. Now, do you still want to do it? Maybe not.
Now there's some more understanding.
Right. Not only is it going to affect them, it's going to affect you in your karmic cycles, because now you'll be the one receiving what you did to them later on. So you learn through firsthand knowledge of the struggle that you had previously dismissed.
Absolutely. And even in the current life I'm in, I have received the other side of the energy I sent out. And I learned through pain, emotional and physical pain, right? Yeah. And I don't want to go through those experiences again, because I'm not able to discipline myself and my mind, right? But for me, in this division, the world, all that stuff, everything that's going on right now, it is out of my control and power to think there's any change that's going to come from me. If I attack, or I say I'm on this side and I'm going to attack that. I agree with people that protest against the current policies and things. I agree with them, but I'm not going to be out there, because it's divisive when I'm out to go out there. I am picking a side. I'm choosing to be in that division. So for House of Frog and my wife and I, what we do is we've decided we have our concerns with politics, but we very much limit what we do with them. It is someone else's energy. We've decided to help those people heal from within, to build here. And the people that we help and the people that we process are of all ages, of all colors, of all whatever, every side of sexuality. It makes no difference. That is the way to stop being divided. Not necessarily through House of Frog, but is by recognizing in ourselves what it is that we do in practice that divide people. Exactly. Where do we send our energy? And do we send it to things that further divide people? Right? Even if we feel so much like that is our belief, I agree with this, or that senator or this, who cares? Right? Because we're supposed to reflect love. And every time we don't, to that person, to that politician, the other person on the other side of that issue, that coin, we're literally telling Creator, we don't love you. We're stopping you from growing, because they are a reflection of Creator. They're a reflection. That we are the same. Right? So why people are divided, it's infinite. But there's a way to fix it, and it's by building from within. And then you reflect it. And mindfulness and one-mindedness will occur.
And that's why you're on the show. We have the same goal, different ways of doing it, right? So I've always, in my reality growing up, whenever I had understanding of something, I was less aggressive towards it. So I had the boss coming in an hour before, we go home on Friday saying, oh, we're all coming in tomorrow. And I'd get so angry at that boss. But then later on, the boss would pull me aside and say that I had to do this because of this, this, and this. Now, not only am I not angry, I have compassion for him because I have understanding. I bring you bring your wisdom, and you're changing the world a little at a time every time you talk. And that's great.
Absolutely.
But it's through education, right? And that's why this show was created. But this show is a teaching show, right? We learn here, but we do not connect here. That's the next process, because you can't just learn this, like you can't just read the Bible. You have to exercise the love that's taught within it. This show is a teaching show, but we have two people here who actually give the exercise of connecting to source. I give the why, we give the why, but they have the exercise. So I have two. I have Brandi Pagano and Robert from House of Frog. Robert, please explain what you do at House of Frog.
Well, what we do is we were broken people, and we didn't have a solution on the outside world. And we started breathing to manage pain, to disconnect from Western medicine that only treated symptoms. And this is over a decade ago. And it took root. And we believe breathing augments body and mind, creates a clear channel of harmony and peace, so that when you meditate and you're in that relaxed state, that you have a deeper and clearer conscious connection with Source, higher power, God, the ether bunny, whatever you believe in. Right? It makes no difference to us. We are just trying to show you the practice of how to settle body and mind through breathing to have higher connection to whatever you believe in. Right? And it doesn't have to be an entity. The sea air was mine for a long time when I started the process of stopping to drink, which was, 12, 14 years ago. I didn't understand what Creator was, and I was a little pissed at him. Right? So I chose a memory of being with my dad, driving up PCH and breathing in that salty air. And that was Source to me. And it fed me for those first few years. And then because of actions and things in our life, we have experiences with loved ones that sometimes we didn't know what we were doing. And because of that, people that we love are not close to us. And we've been able to balance that by allowing them the space to grow without our interference. That balance has given us calm in our heart and peace, because it's about them, not about us. And from that perspective, many have come back. And many in our lives, in AA, we call it living in the promises. Right? We totally live in the promises. We don't have true problems. We have love around us. And so we take those life lessons. We take the knowledge of Kundalini Yoga. Shout out to Dan DeLuise in Canada for Elements Wellness Center. Thank you so much for your guidance and wisdom. But we take those philosophies, those teachings, those trainings, and our life experiences and our understanding of Source, and we offer it to our friends and community for free. Through meditation and yoga and breath work, we've turned our home into a wellness center. And all we're trying to do is allow people the same healing that we've experienced so that they can go and take that to others, just like we're doing. And it just spreads that way. It's called oikos.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
And the
for
Bible
sharing.
supports that. It says, be still and know that I am God. Some people think it says, it means be quiet in church. No, it means connecting with Source through your stillness.
Yes.
Right.
So, Brandi, you have something called
Taizé service.
Taizé.
So, because I am a metaphysical practitioner, I do a lot of woo-woo stuff. No, no, I do. I practice all kinds of different things, from yoga to meditation, Tai Chi, different mindful practices. Which it's all mindful because it's being in that present moment. And Taizé service is. It can be seen as a spiritual service. It is a time of contemplation, prayer, chanting, soft singing, soft music. But really the main purpose of that is to connect within. So you are doing that breath work, but there's also music involved. There's, like I said, some chanting and things. So it is a curated experience that I or other practitioners like myself will provide for small groups. And it's something that I personally find really beneficial to connect to Source, because, we talk about how praying is speaking to God.
Yes.
And meditating is listening. Right. And it's all about changing those brain waves in our frequencies, so that way we can be more in a calm state, so we can listen to those messages through our contemplation, through our journey, through our connection. And when the body is calm and the mind is calm, then now we are in the frequency of peace and harmony, which is the vibration and frequency of Source. And so that's when we can really tap into our highest self. So one of the things that I would love to do is to bring a Taizé service to our channel, to our viewers and our listeners. So stay tuned for that. And again, I just want to give a shout out again to Robert and Cinnamon too from House of Frog, because I am a little frogette. And I have met some of the most amazing people through House of Frog, the participants. And I am really enjoying the journey and how much it's changing and growing and shifting. And it's a place for me where I can truly just come and literally lay down, whether it's on the floor or it's in the sweat lodge or out in the sand circle. And it's a really beautiful place. So hopefully, other people can enjoy that. And again, the purpose is to connect with your higher self and to connect to source.
It is. And you're on YouTube, correct?
No.
No, where are you at?
We're on Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
House of Frogs, spiritual well-being.
Awesome. Because, like I said, connecting with source is a two-step process. It's knowing and then understanding and then exercising that.
It's all about that application. And that's why at House of Frog, we get to put into practice applying, the things that we believe, that we are one with source, that we are not our bodies. We are not our genders. We are love. We are beings of light.
Right.
And we get to choose how we show up for ourselves and show up for the world by altering our frequency, whether that's through breath, whether that's through movement, whether that's through sweating or crying or anything else. So
You get it all.
Yeah, pretty much. You get it all.
The human experience.
Yeah. And it's, it's not, everything is not a one size fits all. You can't just eat one salad and then think everything's great.
No, it's a process that takes a while.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is it's way easier just to read a book than it is to actually, take the time and do the work, and that's where people fail sometimes, they don't want to do the work.
Speaking of book,
Yeah, go ahead.
can I segue into a surprise?
Sure, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
So, dun, da, da, da. So I think on the last episode, I said that our book is going to be coming out soon. Guess what? When we were pulling into the house today, I grabbed the mail and the book was actually here. So I unwrapped it, but we haven't actually looked
haven't
at
seen
it.
it. No.
So this is for the very first time, Todd Michael Jackson's very first
Yes.
book, titled God is Greater Than Religion, Moving from Faith into Knowing and Understanding. Boom. So here it is, my love.
Oh,
God is
look
greater
at-
than religion.
Awesome
All
stuff.
right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right on.
So much fun.
That is
Thank you.
awesome.
So
Thank you.
exciting.
So yeah, I've been a near-death experience researcher for over 12 years, and there's no NDEs in here. This is an accumulation of all the knowledge I've gained for my studying of NDEs.
Right.
I got my information from people that have been on the other side of the veil.
This is all the knowing and the understanding
Yes.
of people's experiences and how Todd's been able to take all of his data, all of his research, and his personal experiences and condense it all into clear understanding for people to change their life.
Here's the chapters. I mean, there's no NDEs in here. I got my information from there, but 12 years ago, I was also mad at God. And I want to know how things work because I was tired of chasing that scripture and this scripture over here. And I was like, no, I want the nuts and bolts of how things work. And that's when I started my journey. And this is a accumulation of what I've learned.
That's great.
Chapter 1, does God exist? Chapter 2, what is the purpose of life? Chapter 3, how do we overcome judgment? Chapter 4, understanding the LGBTQ process that all souls go through. So all this, how do we solve racism? Does hell exist? Are ghosts real? It's all in here. Just a few pages. Because we were like, you know what? I'm not going to bring a 700-page book out because people are like, I'll read it tomorrow. It's 100 pages. You can get through 100 pages. It's $10. It's not too expensive. I'm like selling my stuff here, right? It's super cheap. It's super easy to read. Every chapter is like
It's affordable.
4 or 5 pages. And that's it. And I explain how things work in a nuts and bolts way without a bunch of convoluted BS. And we even got the book down to the price point we wanted by shaving everything off of it. It gets right to the basics right off the beginning.
I'm so excited.
Chapter
for you.
1, it just starts right away with the first paragraph, and it's just pure knowledge all the way through.
I love it. Congratulations,
Thank
you
you
guys.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I can't wait. Oh, it's also it's on BalboaPress.com.
So you can get it at BalboaPress.com. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can also get it through us in person at various book signing events in Southern California. And the website and other locations will be posted soon. So yeah, thank you so much.
And if you go to Balboa Press and it's in euros, it's the wrong one. That's the international one. We went there twice already.
Even if somebody buys it, does that mean that you'll be an international seller already?
I know.
If they pay in euros.
Exactly. So yeah, just go to the other site, the other Balboa Press.
Let me see this. So I mean, honestly, though, this book has been such a labor of love. It's been such a pleasure to be a part of this. Truly, truly. I got to write the foreword or the intro or something in here, and I've got to participate in editing and just everything from start to finish on this book. And it's been truly a pleasure to be a part of this, and to be able to help you publish your first book and everything. And we just got somebody. Oh yay! All right. It just came out, and we just got our first sale. So thank you so
Bring
much.
it over. I'll sign it.
Yay. Yeah. So anyways, thank you so much to the team at Balboa Press and just everything that's gone into this.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So yeah, you guys, this has been a really great show today. Really great topic. Do you guys have any final thoughts that you want to share before we close out for this episode today?
Yeah. Just have to remember when we divide ourselves and we see differences, there's actually 90% the same. We're 90% the same of everybody we're judging. And when you judge that person, you are judging their journey that they set about on long before this incarnation. Mm-hmm. And when you judge them and treat them badly, you are treating Source badly in the long run.
True that. Any final words, Mr. Robert?
Life's a lot easier without the judgment. Just be chill.
Right?
That's it.
Always have love and laughter in your heart and keep moving forward. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.